the topic you want to dive into is progressions and regressions. You've heard us talk about them on episodes prior. Do they exist, or are they a myth, or are they just kind of dressed up language for variation? Where does, what is it all about? I'm going to start by saying I firmly believe in progressions and regressions, but it depends on how you're bucketing those things, right? So if we're talking about a squat pattern, I think a logical progression would be your body weight squat to a goblet squat of some style to a front squat or a back squat. That's kind of a natural progression.
Yeah.
And yes, those are also variations, but they're variations with increasing intensity, increasing load. I mean, there's a lot of ways that they are tougher than the exercises prior. It's why they're progressions. But if we're talking about bench press versus a squat, those are two very different patterns. So, of course, now we're talking about variety. It's not like, well, I'm going to progress your goblet squat to a barbell bench press. Absolutely not. What are we talking about here, right? So there's apples to oranges, there's variety in that sense, but I think there's absolutely progressions and regressions, and they're part of any coach's system. So if you don't have them, again, everyone has a different training background and lens, but I stand by those. And at one point in time, you did too. I'm curious if you do still.
Yeah, you think I don't? You think I've just thrown away all the shit that we've...
Been a long time since I coached side by side with you, Luke.
Yeah, that is true. I would definitely say that I am like the sole survivor at where I am now, where I am the one that's still believes in progressions and regressions. I would say that's kind of where this is stemming from, is just in the places I've been, like at Ohio Northern and other places. It's just been a difference of opinion, and that's great, right? And that's why we have a podcast, and that's why
True.
People listen to things, and you want to be educated from people with different opinions. So I would say, the biggest thing is the belief that you don't want to call something a regression or a progression, because then it could have a negative connotation or a positive connotation, but you don't want to have that effect on the training for the client, which I don't know. We could talk more about that. Like, I think from a lot of people, like, that idea is more of just like trying to market whatever you're saying. The language is important to the client. Now, I would argue that to me doesn't matter, because it's, regression, sure. Like, I don't know if I'd call something a regression. I would call something maybe a variation. Just for the sense of like not trying to bring down any of my clients, not trying to bring down any of my athletes too. Like, if they can't do something to the standard I want, I don't want them to like double down and feel super shitty. And then like I say, hey, we're regressing this, because regressing it can have connotation to it.
Humbling.
Yeah. And I think a lot of athletes aren't ready to be that humbled, right? And that's why we've talked about this, and I've worked with different athletes, and football is always an interesting one, because you come in and they already feel like they're in a place where they can't do wrong, and they are already super strong and that kind of stuff. And then you get them in a position where like, hey, you can't squat parallel. What's going on? And then the weight's too heavy. And then it's like, okay, we have to regress this. And to them, that's like, oh, you're singling me out. Like, fuck you. You know what I mean? Like, this strength coach is just giving me a hard time. And there's a lot of things where like it becomes more of a mental piece, which is part of training. So I would say in that aspect, it has some value, but in other aspects, I think it just confuses everyone too. Because I would say, like you're saying, like, I would rather have a very streamlined approach to what I think the easiest exercise is, and how we can go in ways to progress this, whether that is adding different load from, if we're talking squat, I think the squat's kind of the easiest one to like progression wise, right? Like goblet squat to a hands-free front squat to a front squat. So that would just get them in the positions of those new movements. Then like, I think back squat has the hardest load on the body. So then then that's where I think if we're moving in loads, that's how I would go. Um, and then like you can get into more like different bars, whatever after that. Um, but that's like double leg, right? And then there's other ways that you can progress things. You can progress things stability wise and go from like a back squat to a split squat, like a barbell on their back, and they can do a split squat, or like other things like that. Like there's variation in that kind of stuff too. I guess you know what I mean.